Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today we're going to be trying to wrap up at the end of the season with a top 1200 Mythic finish. I was playing a bunch of best of one decks, but one of my buddies from my LGS has been playing this deck, a port of a recent Pioneer deck. So he was hyping this up, so I want to try it. He's 8-3 in like high Mythic with it, and making some tweaks along the way, but basically it is a 4-color Keruga Fires. So we're going down the line of companions that are playable, which aren't. So Keruga has the restriction that your deck has to only contain cards with mana value 3 or greater, and lands. It has the upside when it enters a battlefield, you draw a card for each other permanent you control with mana value 3 or greater. So there's ways we can kind of circumvent that casting cost. So Bonecrusher Giant's Stomp ability, for example. Leyline Binding, we can cast for 1, 2, 3 mana as well. So we have a temporary lockdown to clean up the early game, pairing up with Supreme Verdict. Fable the Mirror Breaker to ramp us. The only card that we don't have legal from the Pioneer version is Detention Sphere. So we're playing some Knight of Autumns as catch-all kind of utility card. Fires of Invention is kind of the engine of the deck. Lets us cheat on mana. And then basically cast multiple spells per turn equal to the number of lines we have. We do that in conjunction with stuff like... Oh, sorry. That Amazon guy was coming. Omnath, the Locus of Creation, draws us cards, gains us life, deals damage, whole bunch of stuff. Cheeto Fingers, some Kennys. So the Pioneer version's on 4 Kenrith, 3 Lockdown main. I made the tweak to have 4 Lockdown because Mono Blue is very popular, and then just switch the sideboard to have the 4th, copies 3 and 4 Supreme Verdict. So you have Kenny with all the modes, with Fires is really good, gains you life, draws you cards, reanimates a whole bunch of stuff. We have Cavalier of Flames, which you can copy with like Fable, but gets you damage when it dies, equal to the number of lines in your graveyard. Whenever it dies, but gets you some card draw. You can also haste your team and use a mana sink. And like I said, the Leyline Bindings. So we are predominantly a 4-color deck that has some copies of black mana. So we have a basic Swamp. We have a Zeator's Proving Ground. We have Fable Passage to kind of get our basics. We have Ketria Triome and Dantha Triome, Spara's Headquarter, kind of all those triomes kind of mixed in there. And then the sideboard. This was really one of those decks where I trusted my friend on the mana base because I ain't figuring it out. Mystical Dispute, very good against Mono Blue, which is doing really well at Worlds, and a very popular deck. Also good against Control, which is going to be a tougher matchup. We have additional copies of Knight of Autumn here. Bothers me when this stuff's not together. So 3 copies of Knight of Autumn, catch-all, artifact enchantment removal. We can't play anything like Terra Sunder. We can't play like the cheaper artifact removal spells, so we kind of got to go like that. Also good against like the aggressive decks, just gaining 4 life and also creating a blocker. Chandra is an uncounterable threat. Leyline for the Grease Fang matchup. You can mull into it, and then Supreme Verdicts can't be countered. Very good against Mono Blue. So I think we're hovering around 98, 90. We dropped to 97. I was at 98 earlier. But let's try this out, see how it plays out. We'll give it a couple goes. Sign up for the right format. Keruga Fires. Let's go. So usually with best of 3, I'll do 2 to 3 matches depending on the duration of the matches. Sometimes they go quick. Sometimes you'll play a match and it'll be like 45 minutes. So we'll kind of preface with that, have our thoughts, kind of go from there. If we kind of see this deck's going nowhere, we might pivot off it a little earlier, just given it's the end of the month. Seems good. We have reduced cost Leyline. So we don't have Fires of Invention. Oh, I did Historic. Oh. Okay, we're going to try this in Historic. This is the Historic Omnath. I meant to do it in Explorer. Oops. Okay, well, we're going to try this in a Historic. If we can win in Historic, we can win anywhere. That was an error. Take action here. So they can sack the Skirk Prospector. So I don't want to use it, my Bone Crusher on it. So I think I'm just going to do Binding here on this Skirk Prospector. And then I can Stomp. Yeah, because these should be 4 drops. I'm going to do this now only because if they have Krenko on top, it's pretty bad. And this looks like a mono red version if they're playing Snow Covered, as opposed to the Rakdos version. Can I get a land? Okay, that's not bad. So land would be really good here. Temporary Lockdown, Supreme Verdict, all good cards here. Take them off. Can I have a land? Untap land. Untap land. So hopefully draw another land here. That gains us 4 life. I have Kenrith, which we can start gaining big amounts of life. They do have Muxus available at any point. So here I have to actually block, which is annoying. That was like the best draw they could have had. Supreme Verdict one time. Can do this. Fabled Passage. Otawara's not bad. The problem is, like, I'm just staying alive here. The first strike being super relevant here. So that's a 6/5. I'm dead anyways. I joined the wrong format. Now I'm kind of cheesed. Supreme Verdicts. Let's go Knight of Autumns. And probably Chandra. Take out Cavalier of Flames. 1 copy of Kenrith. Maybe just trim on these. Chandra's another sweeper, but we have access to 8 sweepers now, so we're okay. We are almost stabilizing there. If we could have got like a Fabled Passage. Fire, when we have fires versus we don't have fires, will make a big difference. Okay, this hand looks pretty good. So I think we... put him... I think we put Leyline Binding back. So we do need a white source here. Skirk's kind of annoying. While we can stomp it, they can sack in response. So we're going to have to do this now because it's going to enable... I would really like a white mana source here. Next turn. So they should sack it. We needed the untapped white source because it would have hit the treasure token too. See what they play out here. The fact they cycled there is kind of good. Makes them waste their treasure. Hopefully they drop another 2-drop here. If I can save this for Omnath, I'd prefer. Jetmir's Garden. I mean, they're not doing much right now, so let's just do this. Again, if I can save for Omnath, it's better. Especially if they're just cycling here. They're not putting a huge amount of pressure. Omnath will gain me life. I can play out this Keruga. Okay, now we're going to go lockdown, I think. So they can sack here, but this takes them off quite a bit of mana. I'm gonna go to second main phase here. Just to get the mana from floating out of their mana base. Gotta go Sokuzan. So we can go Omnath, fetch another Plains. Krenko's going to be kind of annoying. So we get a bunch of mana this turn. We'll do it next turn. We'd really like to draw Fires of Invention. Temporary lockdown, their board will be good. So they can do that afterwards. Just gain a bunch of life here. Probably want red. And I can do this. I can do this. And then I also have access. Because if they... So we can put the counter here. I could technically die to Muxus next turn. But they need Muxus, Haste Enabler, and like a good flip. Okay, so they got the land. Well, they had 6 mana anyways. Iron Crag. So notably they are on Iron Crag Muxus. So it's going to dilute their mana base a bit. Well, this could be Shatter Skull Smashing. Oh, that's fine. We'll ditch both these. Yeah, I forgot Fires of Invention is also more expensive in this format, so we just chose the wrong format. Okay, so we got him. We just got to play it in the right format, this deck. On the play... I think we trim a Fires, go up another... I think we need blockers earlier. Even just gaining life could be good. I can blow up a treasure token. Can make a 4/3 for blocking. It'd be nice if they don't have what's its face. We'll switch this to Explorer after this, just because it's the end of the month. Normally I concede, but I don't want to lose that much rank. We're trying to battle in. We're being competitive here. Okay, so no early drops, nice. Can get Fable going. Okay, well, they're really not doing much here, which is good for us. The War Chief here. So I have blue, white, so I need another copy of blue or white. They could go Kranko with haste here. Probably gonna have to Verdict. Oh, they're just going straight turn Muxus. Bad flip. Jeez. Chase. So they can search another Muxus here, and then they'll likely have the land. So we're just getting... So that's... See how much of a boost it gets. 9, 12. Yeah, I got a block here. So now we gotta find a white mana source. Okay, so they need a land here. They have... Hopefully they whiff. Nope. Okay, let's play the right format. If your opponent's gonna turn 4, turn 5 Muxus you, and then hit every single time, you can't do much about that on the play. Alright, let's play the right format. Explore. Keruga Fires. So you got bonus content. You got to see, is this deck viable and historic? Probably not. The big difference, like Omnath being extra mana, Fires of Invention being extra mana. Okay, so this hand looks good. We are going to start. I'm going to fetch for a mountain here. So, they are on spirits. So game 1 is probably a terrible matchup because they're going to have a lot of cheap counters. I'm going to bring in my disputes, all my other kind of effects. I want to take this off now. They could go Curious Obsession on it, but I'm going to have to get through counters eventually. Okay, so they usually play... This could be... Because this sacks to kind of protect you. A cool thing here is I can make a treasure token and then play Fires. And then have the 4 lands up. I think we're gonna get rid of Knight here. cautious here. So if I can sneak this down, we're in a good spot. They usually don't play Spell Pierce. Because then next turn I can Cavalier of Flames and Bone Crusher Giant. I also have access to gaining mana. If I draw an untapped land, I can Keruga to hand as well. Okay, so they have the ability to tap down now. But they'll only be able to tap down one thing. The Ganjo's pretty good as well. So I'm going to want the second white here. So they might... The nice thing with the channel lands, they can't be countered as well. So now we'll get haste. So they're tapping my Kiki. Technically, I could have given my Kiki haste and then made another copy of Cavalier of Flames. So Ijanjo, I'll have both the treasure and Omnath, which is legendary. Okay. So they survive the turn, but on combat I have Ijanjo. So 6. So I will get rid of you. Alright, much better, much better. They didn't have any counter spells that game, which bodes well. So this is Easy Dispute, Chandra, Verdicts, and then coming out, I don't think the Cavalier is good here. We'll trim on that. Honestly, we're probably going to have a hard time resolving any of these. Maybe trim on an Omnath. Trim on you. Leyline Binding's fine because it has Flash. On the play, it's probably another Kenrith, and then maybe 1 Fires of Invention. I want to have access to 1, but I don't think I want more than that. So the card that they can play in this deck is Unsubstantiate, that can deal with the Supreme Verdict on the stack. We'll put Kenrith back. We'll shuffle it anyways. We're going to get our island here. Mystical Dispute being a 1-mana answer to any card in their deck. The unfortunate thing here is we would have really liked an untapped land here, because if they go Curious Obsession here, it's pretty bad. No Obsession. Okay, Scream Phantom. Kind of annoying still. We would have liked to tag that. I should have played this. So we want an untapped white source here, so I can lock down with counterspell backup. Cool. And if that doesn't work, I have access to Supreme Verdict for the following turn. So we'll counter here. So that deals with their threats. And then if I could potentially sneak Omnath down, it'll be good. See Shackle. So we're gonna want any land, that's great. So I'm gonna forego on the life here because I want to have access to a counter spell. Bone Crusher is great as well. Gives me an answer to like a Shacklegeist or something. So I'm going to do this because it's going to bait out a counter ideally. So they'll get to draw a card here, but then I could temporary lockdown it. And then have access to Stomp. So it gets rid of both. We'll gain 4 life. And then the lockdowns just deal like a number with them. So we have a failsafe and Verdict if needed. We have Stomp. So I'm going to Stomp here. They're doing this so that they can tap down my Omnath. I have enough counters for everything in their deck except Slip Out the Back, but now we force this out of them so I can still attack in here. I can bring Keruga to hand. Another land would be good. I think we're going to do this. I would have loved a land there. Maybe I should have held it, because if we are going to Verdict, I'm going to need an answer. So they're going to hit me for 4 here. This is interesting, because I can Ganjo the channel, which kind of deals with it that way. Because I'm probably not playing Keruga this turn, so we'll just do that. Because if I could take 3 power off the board, I can race them really well. I could have done this to hand too. I have a legitimate business person. So we'll just Verdict here. I don't want him to be able to draw a card. Can't be countered. So if we had this in hand, it would have been pretty good. Probably gonna Verdict. Problem is they're at enough mana now. Ooh, Leyline's nice. Let's Keruga here. Okay, that went down quick. So doing this on their upkeep because that way they have to spend mana on their turn. And then I have this Chandra coming down as well. This could be slip out the back maybe. Haha! Can't be countered.
Ever see a volcano erupt in person? You're about to.
So I actually don't have enough for the full amount. How do they kill me? So I'm gonna tax them so they can't draw a card here. Because they'll take one in their upkeep here. They only get one draw and they can't deal 6 damage. Like Supreme Phantom would have been like their way out of it. They draw a card, too late. I can sweep the board. We almost got the 1 mana Leyline. No swamp. So we're seeing like the Supreme Verdict plan came out pretty good here. The Mystical Disputes did so much work. Chandra, Keruga is going to be our beatdown plan. The Dino Hippo. We got the Salt Roper. Opponent is furious. Cannot come to grips. How did I lose to Keruga Companion? Are they gonna rope me out for real? Mono blue players. You play a deck that's more than capable of beating me. You've had decent interaction, 2 Geist Snares and a slip out the back and the top. You had more than that. You had a bunch of good spirits. So you only drew 6 lands in 21 cards. You gotta love it. So I think like without the fires is tricky because like you kind of want it in this matchup because it lets you multi-spell, so it's harder for them to counter. We saw game 1 how we were able to overrun them, but we kind of have to shift off the heavy spells and just play like 1 or 2 threats. The one thing in this mana base, like while we are Leyline binding, I would like a castle if possible, like a Vantress, but I feel like we're always going to have stuff to do with our mana. We haven't had like excess mana for a lot of games. Rope baby, rope baby. They also used previous to this like 5 more minutes of clock. Mystical Dispute carrying. So we'll just be super safe. Chandra minus. Attack with Keruga. We have lethal there. We have lethal off the emblem. They can't slip themselves out the back. I really don't understand the point of this. like, I won the game. I'm gonna stick around. It's highly unlikely that you cast your spell, draw your card, and then your game crashes. Curious. Shine. If there's any other cards for the sideboard. Actually, what I probably wouldn't mind. Maybe trim one knight and then just do can't be countered. Ceratops. Because we take out a lot of our top end threats. So this could be beneficial. Because it's hard for us to go green-green. I can do like a cultivate style effect. I can have one Shark Typhoon, but let me try with the Ceratops on the side. I feel like we're going to see a lot of mono blue, and just the fact it can have reach can't really be interacted with. Look at this one more. So we saw what happens when we play the right format. I don't know if I necessarily love the Knight of Autumns. Okay, so it's likely control. Alright, well, we got action. That's my only green source. This is probably Incarnation. Enigmatic, so I'll put Keruga to hand. They are going to be able to tutor for ways to deal with my Fires of Invention. So we do want a spell that we can cast next turn with Fires of Invention. So we are going shields down for a turn. Okay, that's fine because I could Leyline Binding there, Leyline Binding. And then I can Keruga and draw cards. Let's hope they don't have Enigmatic for one turn. They don't have green mana. Now they can play Enigmatic. So I'm gonna shock in here because I want to have access to Otawara. So I'm gonna hold off here because if they play Incarnation, I want to be able to Otawara it back. If not, we cycle Triumph. They have more tutorable elements in their deck. Okay, so I do need to do this now. Could Keruga back to my hand, but I think we're going to do this. Because that'll take their second card to be cast for the turn. And they can go Skyclave Apparition here. They usually don't mainboard Knight of Autumn. The annoying thing is if they have another leyline binding, they can binding my binding. Yeah, now they take both my threats. Ah, that's interesting. I guess they could go Yori into hand, which is annoying. So they go Yorion, they blink. They get that back for the turn. I can Omnath here, but they have the Yorion. Probably want to save that for a following turn, so I think what we're going to do is just stomp here. Because I can blink. I don't want my like key cards to die here. I don't have black mana right now, so I can't reanimate. If I draw a fetch land, then I can do both of these. So this is definitely a 4 of Knight of Autumn. Okay, so we have Ziatora. So I can either do the Kenrith or I can do temporary lockdown. I think I like the lockdown line because it means that I take them off all this. And now Yorion can't kill my Omnath this turn. While I don't have the black mana available. So we see Skyclave. Yeah, that's bad. Okay, we're just gonna go to sideboard. They're gonna grind me now. They get another card draw from that. They have Yorion going. So in this matchup, Knight of Autumns are definitely coming in. Question is, do I want disputes? Probably not. Verdicts, again, probably not. Let's probably just trim a couple Bone Crushers. Or actually, I think I'm just going to get rid of all the lockdowns here and then just bring in threats. We'll have a couple verdicts. I could have the counter spells. I can have verdicts. Let's do it like that. This matchup's going to be tough. They're very much a similar idea to us, but they have more interaction. They're not restricted. They have Enigmatic Incarnation that lets them tutor. Okay, so we got the fires. So I'm going to lead on Sparas because it gives me access to the other colors we need. Also having access to Knight of Autumn. Like we had a couple turn cycles there, which was decent. We needed Beseju over... Let's go Ziatora's here. Jetmir, we already have white here. We'll get the green here. Birth of Melites. This is actually pretty good because I can ramp out the Omnath this turn. Okay, so we see their copy of Fable come down. Okay, so we have access to Mystical Dispute. So I can shock in. That gives me red, green. That doesn't give me the blue, but I can hold up the blue anyways, and then I can hit them, but they're not going to have the Mystical Dispute necessarily. Okay, so we do that. Can take him off Fable, which is probably what I want. Also makes their draws a bit worse. So I'm going to hold this with this. Can also generate me a bunch of mana to get Keruga into hand if needed. I think we let this come in because if I can get Fable going, it's good. They were going to fix their mana anyways. They could Leyline Binding here. Their mana is really bad. No green sources, no blue sources. Black is probably the... Oh, they got the Fable. So I'm going to want another white source. We have triple red anyways for Cavalier. Another Dispute's good, notably though, like with the... Just seeing, because if we draw Cavalier, I don't need... Knight of Autumn is also nice here. So I don't actually need the ramp. So we'll just gain it so we have more life for a future turn. Just drew a ton of cards, which is fantastic. I have the Kenrith now for the following turn. So we can use that, deal the 4, get 2 land drops coming in. Nothing died, but I have access if I do need to reanimate with Kenrith, that's a thing. So this will fix their mana. So I actually don't care if Keruga dies. It's gonna be tight end of industry. Yeah. Gain 4 life here. Probably get a blue source here. Let's do this. Blow up you. Are they dead on board if I distribute counters? 4, 5, 6, sorry, 2, 4, 6, 7, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we'll do this. We're a little bit too short there, but they need a sweeper here. We're in a good spot. I also have the ability to start reanimating. Taking out their wall. I think on the play, we're going to get rid of the counters maybe, because we can't really get anything on cheap. I think these counters might be wrong. We might want the temporary lockdowns. Got Rhino. So we'll do that. Haste and trample. And that should be lethal. Alright, 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 alright. Don't think we want these. We got maybe 2 lockdowns. One verdict, maybe 2 verdicts. How do they beat me? They got onto the board early. They have the Yorion kind of going. Yeah, maybe. Try that way out. The deck's interesting. There's a lot of lines to it. Keruga's actually just been really good at just refilling our hands. This hand does literal nothing. I think we got a mulligan. Okay. So I'm gonna lead with this. This might just be like a stomp beatdown plan. Try to bait something out. You get some like awkward hands like this, where we're both playing this like mid-rangey grind fest. Okay, so I can deal with the Fable token. Kind of surprised, but I guess it's like free value. No, 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 no. Almost screwed that up. I probably want double white. Don't love that all my lines are shocks, but is what it is. Could have been right that I just Keruga to hand, but I can't cast it anyways this turn, so that doesn't probably make the most sense. I have to shock in here to cast my fires. And then I want to hold this verdict for after they have this Fable flip. They have Enigmatic. Nope. We do have Omnath. Omnath demands an answer. Temporary lockdowns, actually not bad either. I can play a land, Keruga to hand, draw a bunch of cards. Probably want another black source. I have the 3 reds, so Dantha, Triome, Keruga to hand, draw some cards. Potentially draw Kenneth, haste. Okay, so we see Pelucernus. Fight there. We can't afford them to have Kiki. So that's actually pretty solid. I figure they wouldn't block with Pelucranos anyways. Dantha. Draw a card here. We want one more land in play. That's it. This costs 6 other cards. And I believe with Escape you do need to pay the mana. They could Yorion Blink. Still not great. I have this Fable that can get rid of some of these cards for me, so we're probably going to hold this for the time being. Nice thing there. So it's just Yorion Blink. Leyline Binding. Fires. I'd love an Omnath. 2 lands. I have a black land. Probably want to filter out more lands from my deck. My thought is here I can cycle this Zeatora and then I get multiple views at like a playable card. Because I would want like Leyline Binding, I would want Night of Autumn. Because we can see this come down now. That's fine. I have this temporary lockdown so I can get rid of the meat hook. That's annoying. That is annoying. So I probably want one more white source if possible. Yeah, that's why we did that. Try to thin out the deck as much as possible. Holy hell. I mean, we're probably... just doing that. I need Omnath, but we also just... we've seen a lot of lands. They could get Pelucranos back. Like at this point, I kind of need the Leyline Binding just for the Pelucranos. Kenrith, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because Kenrith, bring back Keruga is not bad. No, they're just going to Gloom Shrieker. Yorion to blink the night, blow up temporary lockdown, draw the card. You can exile the Fires of Invention. So this is where like the trouble comes in. Because they're going to get these Yorion loops. I could run Gloom Shrieker. They're able to be more toolbox than us. We're playing more, like they have a bunch of one-ofs. So I need the Supreme Verdict, which we boarded. We have one more in the deck. It's our only out. Verdict one time. One time verdict. One time verdict. Leyline Binding buys me a turn. Okay. It's something. This also lets me set up a Kenrith. They go Leyline Binding, they attack. So I have to do this on the Pelucranos because they can choose to fight. If they fight, I go to 8. See, because what we could have done, alternatively, if we played the Fable, not Crack, then I could have gained 4 more life. But here they have Enigmatic, they'll sack one of these. That's going to get Titan of Industry. Titan of Industry puts a shield counter and blows up would be the line I would choose. Because that keeps them alive for the turn, and then they can also, yeah. We drew a lot of lands that game. So all in all, it's an interesting deck. We're going to get bigger fished by this. I think we can actually have a pretty solid Spirits matchup, but that deck's ultimately going to be the one that's the pain. But let me know what you think in the comments. Catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great one.